Greetings, greetings, greetings. We are now tuned into the vault. Trust, Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. All the replay listeners, all the new subscribers, all the new likers, new commenters. You can definitely type into the chat where you're listening live or listening to replay from. Always appreciate people sharing that. Shout out to all the trustees that are going through trustee training. We actually have posted that we're doing some priority scheduling right now so we understand what time of the year it is. So we posted it. But let's talk about today in this particular episode my family trust versus my government trust SSN. Why is this episode so important? Well, we have a something to share with trustees, which is individuals that reach out. They'll come through trustee training and say, "Oh yeah, I got a trust." They'll say my trust. They'll say my family trust. And we talked about this on our podcast for years, which is an individual, whoever, not saying that they have a trust, but coming at it from the perspective that you are a trustee, so you trust Christian. You own nothing, control everything. Is it a hard pill to swallow? Most people in their life have been groomed to the government trust way, through the public school system, through the SSN. Oh yeah, well if you work, you're gonna have some money that the government's stocking away for you, and we had to take it from you first. The trustee understands they never owned anything. They just controlled it. They facilitated. They stewarded. They moved. What the trustees say, how do I give money? How do I give money to me? How does the trust pay for things for what? Me. That's the government trust way. The SSN way. Well, if you're going to take money from me, at least I know by the end of the time period that you say I'm going to have it, it's going to be there. Right? You're trusting in the government. You trusting in the fiat. Oh, trust Christian. I don't believe in money. But you trusting in the fiat by trusting in Social Security. The family trust way. You let go of the me and the my's and the I's. And it's more about we and the us. We wanted to talk to our people today to let them know in this particular episode, even if you're going to say it's my family trust. Do you know what position you really hold? Do you know what position you're really in? People walking around, oh yeah, we wanted to do another episode. We'll put it in this episode. They got PTSD for poverty. But what's PTSD for poverty? You don't want to go around wealthy people? Because when you got around wealthy people, you went back to your family or friends that may not be wealthy, and you got shocked. It's like, oh wow, the wealthy people are friendly. The wealthy people have talked to me. I was accepted. You were accepted. But now you back in the group of people that don't have the money to help you. Barely have the attitude to sit up and do all the work that they know that you gotta do. It's a shock. What's in front of your eyes? You know the wealthy people living in Malibu. They got yachts. What are you gonna do? Well, what are you gonna do is you're going to associate because you belong, because you deserve. And when you deserve and you belong, you're there. So you're in the community, my family trust. Because from the family, there comes other families. And then there's a community. My government trust says, well, you're not going to be putting you cannot, and the way it's structured looks like you're going to have a liability given it to your children. And it's not just freely, and you could put together a will. You might give away a liability. That's the point. You're not giving away an asset. You might be giving away a liability. because the other individual or organization, whoever may have to deal with a liability, not just the asset. So it's a liability. An asset is just that, an asset. My family trust. They say, oh, I got a family trust. Okay. Does it have standards? Are you following the governance? I mean, this is the biggest lesson we're learning right now at the vault. Because you're always going to learn it. It's the lesson of leadership, which is taking action, and the lesson of governance. How are you governing yourself? Oh, Trust Christian, I have a hard time doing this. I have a hard time doing that. Nah, you got to tighten up. Trust Christian has to tighten up. We all have to tighten up. You're jumping into an environment where it's a practice. That's the point. You're practicing being the best trustee you could be. So of course it might be what you call an uphill battle. But here we go. See, this is what you learn when you're around other wealthy people, other successful people. They'll tell you, you don't focus on your weaknesses, you focus on your strengths. Focus on your strength. What's your strength? What's your strengths? Oh man, unapologetically. What are you supposed to be doing when you say you're supposed to be doing? Not because someone else say it. See, that's the mindset. Where are you set at? The family trust doesn't really have a negotiation tool. It's put in place by the family. We've consented to it. This is what we gotta do. Whether it's a hard pill to swallow or not, baby. We gotta eat these right now. Oh man, I'm gonna be out here generational wealthy. How you gonna have generational wealth? You don't even have dreams of millions of dollars. Like, what are you talking about? What are y'all talking about on the internet? Because if we're talking to our audience on the internet, we're gonna go. You say, "Oh, Trust Christian, don't talk to me like that." Okay, your language. The best of us, trustees. It's all gonna come down to the language. That's what it comes down to. Trustees who think they can yippity and dippity and skippity and dippity. Oh, I could just talk to you, Trust Christian, the way I feel like it. No, you can't. You can't. It's practice, right? Right. So practice on us so you can practice for the real world. But do you know what you're practicing? We get up every day like, oh man, what's going to make us the best trustee? What's going to make us the best trustee is having an organized schedule, making sure you got tasks lined up, making sure you prioritize that list, and you get those things done. That's pretty much what we've seen in some of the best trustees. They all pretty much have a list, and they just do a list every single day. That looks wild to some people. Say, oh man, it's too generic, Trust Christian. How could you tell me? It's like some trustees don't know. If you are a trustee, you have an obligation. So if you have an obligation, trustee, health is part of it. You got to make sure you stretching. Oh, Trust Christian, what are we talking about here? Ladies and gentlemen, if the trust is paying for trustees' healthcare expenses, that is your health. Trustees may think it's not an obligation. It's an obligation. But they want to be trustees though. Everybody wants to be a trustee. We should do an episode about that. Everybody wants to be a trustee. How you gonna be the sole trustee? Y'all don't want to know you're doomed for failure. You coming from poverty. You got to have somebody sit on the board that actually has wealth experience. And if you think that we're joking with you, you're already doomed. You don't know what you're getting into. We sat here for years now and we've done it and we've been around it and we know because we've been around it. We've been around wealth. Wealthy people associate with each other. So if you think that you could be the sole trustee on the board of the family trust, that's why you the sole trustee of the government trust. The SSN. Because you don't know your position properly. But when you know your position properly, you man up, woman up, whatever it is, and you go out and build a board. That's a hard pill to swallow. Oh man, Trust Christian, I was born in poverty, man. Oh Trust Christian, you don't know. I don't want anybody to take my dream. People think somebody gonna steal their dream. Ain't nobody stealing your dream. Cause you wanna know why nobody's stealing your dream? Cause your dream ain't big enough. When we ask you what your dream is, oh yeah, I only want a couple $1 million. I just want to help my people out. I'm gonna give them like $2-3 million. I'm a generational wealthy. I'm gonna get about less than $10 million in my life. Maybe less than 20. Like, that's the mentality. So people say, "Oh, Christian, I'm not that though. I'm the bigger dream guy. I'm the whole world guy." So we shared it, and we said, "Okay, how you make it happen, Trust Christian? What did it take?" And it took the association. It took understanding that what we talking about right now, when you focusing on your strengths, not your weaknesses, you leaning into to whatever it is. Appreciate Western Australia for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate Western Australia for tuning in live, listening to replay. Feel free to type into the chat where you listening live or listening to replay from. Always appreciate it. As I know people listening all the way 12 hours ahead or 13 hours, different time zone. They in a whole nother day over there. Oh man, I don't want to be ruled by the government. This is for anywhere in the world. I think this is. Here we go. Now we're gonna go to our point because it led us to this point. That's how you know this person reminded us, because we world class. And when you focus on being world class, you can't just focus on your local area. You can't just focus on your local anything. You gotta say, I gotta serve the world. And when you're able to have that level of capacity, then you're not focused on the government trust because it's too small. What could they give you? They already tell you if you make over a certain amount of money, and when you get to this age for retirement, you don't even have the money because they're not going to give it to you because you got too much money in investments. That's what they tell you in the States. Oh yeah, and if y'all really want to know what the number is, it's less than $3,000. How can you live off less than 3,000? So if you make more than a certain amount of money, which is about 3,000 in passive investments, and in the States, they actually almost cut it off. Or they cut it off for you. So you can't, you just got to live off that. It's like, what? Yeah, you made more than the minimum threshold for a poverty elderly person. Because they wanted to focus on the government trust. They wanted to be they wanted to be the beneficiary of the government trust. And that's what they are. But then you go to say, oh, I'm the family trust guy. I'm the family trust lady. Are you the family trustee now? Are you the family consigliere? Do you have a family consigliere? Y'all don't want to know. Trust Christian, he tells y'all, like, look, y'all got to get lawyers you can't afford. Y'all got to get lawyers you can't afford. Y'all think this is a game. Oh, man, Trust Christian, I'm just trying to get it a game, I'm just trying to get a trust, I'm just trying to find out, I'm just trying to, protect some assets from the government, supposedly. The same people that are in trusteeship. If anything, you protecting your wealth from the masses. That's who you protecting your wealth from. My family trust, huh? Oh man, Trust Christian, I really don't know what I'm supposed to be practicing every day. That's what I don't know. That's the secret. I don't know the process. That's what they be coming to us. They don't know the process. But do you know the system that you in? You in the private system. You're not in the public system. Do you know that? You in the private system. For all of y'all that talk that, oh, I'm in the private, I want to be private, I'm going private. You private. It's a private system. It's not just get over here and it's the right brain thinking and it's all creative. Because if you on the left side and you doing and then we talking about left as far as your brain, you're left talking about, oh, I got to do the logic, I got to do the process, I got to make sure I'm doing the step by step so I can make everything work correctly, so I don't make a mistake. So I want to do the what is it? The scientific hypothesis, the scientific process. I got a scientific method this out. They got a scientific method being a trustee when the document is the scientific method, the trust document. That's the scientific method. It's about as science as it's going to get. Why? Because it tells you what you can and you cannot do. It created the law and the construct in which you operate as the trustee. Okay. Trust Christian, go back to that right brain stuff, because I was thinking that was the private, not the left.
It's both. It's your logic and your emotion. Y'all think you're gonna be generational wealth. You think you're gonna be generational wealth, but you gotta emotionally feel it. Oh man, trust Christian, don't nobody really talk about that part of it. Exactly. But when you in wealthy rooms, we do talk about it. It's something that comes up. Everybody talks about it. It's like people sitting on stage and they're crying. Why are they crying? Why are they telling you vulnerable moments? And they like when they push through these moments and it's generational wealth, baby. It's 30 M's. It's 50 M's. It's 100 M's. It's unbelievable to the one that ain't gonna get it anyways. So what difference does it make? But the one that knows that this is what you're destined for, you go ahead and you say, you know what? I need to know what are the right brain components. Oh, trust Christian, I'm private. I'm a private trustee. I've been private. I'm going private. I'm a private. I'm going generational wealth. But you gotta see you. We gotta see you in the rooms. You gotta be in the rooms with the money. Ain't no, oh, I'm a generational wealth, blah blah blah, and you not in the rooms. There's no shortcut. You gotta be in the rooms. Whether you gotta, they say, oh, you gotta fake it till you make it. Trust Christian. Is that first of all, what are you faking? What are you faking? If you know that that's who you are, that's where you belong, why wouldn't you be associating with others? Psh, OPM, baby. We all using other people's money. We all using other people's money. But see, people sometimes in the public, public government trust my SSN. That's how they gonna move. But the ones that understand, okay, I gotta build something privately. If you want to hit the lottery, then you thinking publicly. But if you're thinking about building something, go ahead and doing what you know you gotta do, doing what you know what it is. It's at one point, it's not even a risk. At one point, it's not even a risk, y'all. And if it's not a risk, the skills, the practice, the right brain, the emotional component is being around other wealthy people. So they can sit on your board. So you can have a doctor on your family board. So you can have the accountant on the family board. So you can have a lawyer on the family board. We know families that are structured like that. Whether it's someone outside the family, but they have someone on the board that handles those things. They have someone on the board that's a financial whiz. But why don't people understand these type of things? The wealthy relationships. We even thinking about a bunch of wealthy people we know right now. We should just ask them to sit on the various different boards that you have. Everybody say, oh, I got this trust and I got that trust and I got that trust, but you the only trustee. Y'all want us to talk about it? See, they don't want us to talk about it because they know that when it comes down to it, all right, did you do anything with others? They don't want to hear that. Why? Because once you do things with others, you can show success, fruit on the tree, not just your own. Where's the game at? Say, oh, trust Christian, I'm going to be on the right side. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to be creative. Okay. We got trustees utilizing the chats. Okay, the chat bots. That's great. What's wrong with that? Nothing. We encourage people to use the AI just so you could speed up your workflow, because whether y'all know it or not, private families are already using it. This isn't going to be this isn't no crypto stuff, you know. And here we go. We're going to go ahead and paint this picture for you too, because this is the hardcore McCoy, real McCoy right here. Here we go. My government trust, SSN, says you supposed to be focused on the government and what they doing. My family trust and excuses and the my government trust, SN, says it's all about fear. So if you can identify what fear is, false evidence appearing real, if you can identify what fear is, your vibrations, your thoughts, your feelings will be focused on the right things, which is my family trust. And my family trust is in a room with other wealthy families, and whether you call it conspiring or what do they call it, masterminding, or they call it scheming, these are the things that are going on, and we're having a conversation about how to keep your mind sharp, how to look forward, at even going through your circumstances, even through the current times that you're in, looking forward. You know, when you think about trustees and generational wealthers, I mean, think about that. You're in a room now where someone's 3 generations deep. It's like, man, they done had the same thought in their family for that long. They done had the same output of people. They producing machines. They're producing these people that are, not in a bad way, not in a machine way, but in a way in which is like they're producing someone that can go out and be productive and bring back to the family estate. We produce something we know is predictable. They produced a predictable outcome. That's the scientific method. So you sit in the rooms and you just hear positive conversations. How are you going to elevate your game if you're not around the positive conversations? You got to be around the positive conversations. Is that a harsh reality? For many, they don't understand what they're missing if they haven't been around that conversation. But if you're not around the conversation, you don't know what you're missing. You're missing out on the energy that comes from somebody saying, yeah, I'm 5 generations from another country. Oh, wow. So you see, wow, the value is in. And then you see others, like we're so proud when we see brothers and sisters in the room and they're athletes sometimes, because sometimes they get excluded out of the wealth conversations. But seeing athletes in the room, we're looking forward to reconnecting with some more this year. And you just meet other brothers and sisters that are in business, and they're doing their best to once again see do the same thing we talking about, be in the room with their energy, so they can they gonna make sure, or they doing their best to make sure, I've been successful at a few other things, and I'm gonna be successful at this if I just stick to it and I apply those principles. And one of them is association. How you gonna be around some? How you gonna say you something and you're not even around the people? Now we can tell y'all. Here we go. Y'all say, "Oh, trust Christian. Give us the shortcut." There's got to be a shortcut. Is there a shortcut? Here's the shortcut. The mentor said, basically, that trust Christian is a trust Christian shortcut. You either gonna go associate with a group of wealthy people, private families, and you're gonna learn the information, which we learned it that way originally. And then you're gonna have a one-on-one mentor as you continue your progress if you don't associate. Why? Because if you don't associate, you're not feeling the vibes. Just like going to church. If you gotta go to church if you want to feel the vibes type stuff. And if you go to the church and you feel the vibes, then you know what it's like. It's the same thing with a wealthy environment. You gotta go there to feel the vibes. And the less you're around the vibes, you have to associate with someone that has a wealthy mindset, someone that's wealthy. It's like, really, like, yeah, and that's the mentor. Usually that's the mentor. So we offer the mentorship, we offer the consultations to trustees, because we understand they'll even come on the line. Oh, trust Christian, I want to be around somebody that has a wealthy mindset. You are the few people that I know that has a wealthy mindset. It's like first of all, you got to know that when you're in that percentile, ladies and gentlemen, that less than 5%, then you have to understand it. 95% of people in your day might even be a 95% a waste of your time. And it's like, oh, no way, I talk to my friends, I talk to my family, I talk to all of these people. Okay, but how many of those people move the needle and are not only that, they're wealthy?
because they got the wealthy vibes. They don't have the paycheck to paycheck mentality vibes. They don't have the I'm gonna depend on the government mentality vibes. They don't have those vibes. They have the I gotta get it out of the mud type mentality. They have the mentality of okay, if it well, if you're in the my family trust mentality, it may not always be I'm getting it out of the mud. Maybe you already have it and you're just focused on preserving it. Preservation is pretty much trusteeship. It's asset preservation. You could call it protection, but next step is preservation. So what are you preserving actually? My family trust. We did our best today to give you all what some people have been questioning for a long time. Oh, trust Christian. I know I don't want to do the government trust thing, the SSN thing, so I want to do my own thing. You hear the word own in there? And then you get to, oh, well, it's my family. And we're doing this episode to specifically correct the language, which is if it's yours, you're liable. So as a trustee, are you liable? We thought that was a limited liability position. You're the trustee, you're the fiduciary. You don't own it, but you control it. No, yeah, I want to be the beneficiary. Who's gonna be the beneficiary of the family trust, Christian? I'm gonna make my children the beneficiaries. We ain't gonna go there. We gonna let that one slide today. What do you say? My children again, right? So we definitely appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. We'll stay on the line a little bit longer if anybody has any questions or any questions that they want to ask or anything of that nature. Always appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening, replay. Feel free to type into the chat. But yeah, this was one of those episodes where we had a lot of people come to us now and ask us about this SSN stuff and oh, it's the government, this, that, and the third. It's like, well, uh, how are you gonna be upset that by default there is a system that says if you're not gonna be productive for the whole, quote unquote, or the all, quote unquote, then you focused on yourself. And they gave people a number that says if you don't do if this is the if you can't pass this minimum, then we'll provide. But at the end of the day, if you go out and do your own thing with the family, then you're in a position to have exponential growth, have exponential success. But how many people are thinking about exponential? They think about I just need to do a 1+1 scenario. I need to do a 1+1 scenario. That's what I'm gonna do, trust Christian. I just need to get to the next step. Think about it. You say you're a generational wealther, right? If you truly got it in your guts, you already wealthy. And you're gonna go around other wealthy people. And you're gonna do wealthy things. And if you can distinguish who your wealthy self is versus the poverty self, then you actually are ahead of the game as well. Maybe many don't have self-reflection, but if your wealthy self is only got $3 million, that's not wealthy. Now, if you call that wealthy for yourself, more power to you. But we're gonna let you know, in the realms of wealth, ladies and gentlemen, that is not considered wealthy. Some people may say that's wealthy, and they're gonna tell you that at the bank. Oh, if you had $2 million, you could live on this little bit of money for the rest of your life, and all that other stuff. That's not generational wealth. Some people say, "Oh, trust Christian, who are you to tell me?" Okay, well, great, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all, it may not be a clearly defined thing on the internet for you because it's private. Y'all can say, "Oh, well, the athletes they supposed to be wealthy." If you make over $20 million, definitely. If you make over $30 million, definitely. It easily could take two or three people, two generations to put something like that together. That's generational wealth. First generation might put like 10 million to give to the next gen. The next gen might add another 10. So you got 20, $30 million that the family is able to give down to the next generation to a growing, appreciating asset base. They're growing wealth. It's not, oh, we're out here, and it's interesting because families that are past these capacities are focused on preservation, not just growing it. But it's always a part of the mindset because they understand. So when y'all, the people try to condemn the stock market, how you gonna condemn the stock market? This is where who's putting their money in the market actually is wealthy families. Wealthy families are putting their money at risk in the stock market, quote unquote, betting on these companies, whether it's tech companies or any companies for that nature. And when we say betting, we just talking about trading in the market. Maybe they riding in funds, maybe they're riding in actual individual stocks, but nevertheless, that is the case. They're the ones investing in the market. When you say who's investing in the stock market, well, if the average individual's not putting in hundreds of dollars or $300 or $500 into a company stock, okay, well let's talk about it. Then it's these families that are putting money into ETFs and all these various different like funds and stuff like that. There's various different financial institutions that have funds that people just buy like a composite of like the tech market or the financial market or the service market, or there's some families that are just like, oh, we want to go into a gold fund, they'll go into a gold fund. And those are the things that you see on the stock market. So when y'all say, oh, why are these asset prices moving? The asset prices are moving because wealthy families are allocating capital, whether y'all believe it or not right now. That's just the bottom line. Wealthy families are allocating capital towards gold. It's been a safe haven. You see what's going on in the world. If you're observant, you can see money has fled to the safe haven. The safe haven's been gold. We all understand that. When you're in a wealthy environment, we understand gold is the safe haven. It's never not been a safe haven. It's just, oh, people want to talk about it in the public realm. Oh yeah, the fiat, and the debt, and the fiat. It's like, that's great. That's all you want to talk about on the internet all day, or the news all day, and that's great. But at the end of the day, there are asset classes that hold value, and whether people want to say it's the stock market or not, oh man, the wealthy people know how to manipulate the market. You can't be mad that somebody that has capital that put money in the market is now saying, you know what, I'm gonna take money off the table. That's all it is. When the market moves, people are taking money off the table. People are putting money into the market. So you see the market move that way. That's what you see. So we're really excited and looking forward to the rest of the year here. Definitely want to keep your keep around wealthy people, be around wealthy people. Some people say, "Oh, trust Christian, man. That's not as easy as it sounds." That's really what it is. They just don't want to hear that part. Like, oh, that's just what it is. Is it a barrier to entry? Not as much as you think it is, but it is a barrier to entry. Definitely. And it's not just even the money. Sometimes it's your look. Some people say, "Oh man, trust Christian for real." Like, definitely, if you're not used to the wealthy look, some people say, "Oh, trust Christian." How could you say that? The wealthy look. It's a wealthy look. They don't want to hear that though. It's not a wealthy look. Don't say it's a wealthy look. There's no such thing as a wealthy look. Okay, well, okay, yeah, that's what you don't want to hear. We go Trust Christian is gonna share that with you before we hop up, so you can say, "Oh, so you can't say and say, oh, Trust Christian, I don't know the wealthy look." Okay, here we go. The wealthy look is business attire. That's that. There's business. There's business casual. That's that. It's business. It's not personal. You wear the attire of the uniform. If you're going to play golf with people, you're going to wear golf attire. You got golf shoes, just like you got regular walking shoes, and they got running shoes, and they got dress shoes. Well, they got golf shoes. Well, there is an attire for the wealthy environments. You got the golf attire, you got the tennis attire, you got the pickleball attire, all these different sports attire, cricket attire, polo attire. They have attire for the environments. Is it look that simple, Trust Christian? It's just that simple. Do you have the attire for the environment? Do you have the linguistic capabilities? Oh, Trust Christian, you make it sound so easy. You be talking dippity dap. Okay. At the end of the day, Trust Christian read a dictionary for years and still does. It's this, you don't ever stop reading the dictionary. The dictionary is something that is gonna help you out. It's no, oh, Trust Christian, I got it online or something like that. It's like, no, most trustees have to have the book right there is helpful, and reference it. It's that's that simple. Reference it. You have to reference the dictionary if you don't know the language. And that's another thing. They say, okay, what's the language of the wealthy? First of all, wealthy people wrote the laws. So if wealthy people write the laws, what is the language of wealthy? The law. They say, oh, trust Christian, I'm not living under no man's rule. I'm not living under nothing. Right. We're not saying that you're living under anything. Just you got to know the legal word for under. But when you do your research, when you hit the books, oh yeah, I'm gonna read over this, learn about these different words, then you're not under the law because you're wealthy. You know the law. Oh, trust Christian, is it just that simple? First of all, if you have other people that are trying to impose laws upon you, do you know the law that they're trying to impose upon you? And not in a fragment way, but the actual, oh man, I'm under this governance system. See, it's mental, not just physical. It's mental. Oh, trust Christian, I just wanted to be a family trustee. Do you have any other people that are working with you on your building on the preservation? Oh yeah, I need to get in contact with somebody for the insurance. Did you do that? Y'all don't want to hear the truth. We did since day one when we sat in the room with wealthy families. Oh man, it's less than. What did he say? He said it was less. He said it was less than 2,000 people in the United States that actually knew how to do what they did, and we were just blown away. We were like, man, that's a real small number right there. That's not a lot of people that can do it the way he was talking about it. And then we've stuck with that, and we already are aware of that. Yes, that is the case. It's not the case. You're not the type of people that you have to associate with. Is there are those type of numbers in the world. Usually these are those type of people. How are you going to meet them if you don't know? If you don't go find them? And then once you find them, do you associate with them on purpose? Do you stick with them? Do you press that relationship to build that relationship? Do you do that? We're just sharing with you all the power of association. It might seem like, oh man, Trust Christian, you stuck on that one for a long time. You was talking about that association stuff for a long time. Yeah, because if you don't get the words of wisdom, it's like going to church. How you gonna get the word? Oh man, I read it on my own, Trust Christian. I'm gonna do it on my own. That's why they the sole trustee, because they read it on their own. Trust Christian, but I don't know where to get the trustees from. I don't know where to build these relationships. We told you, it ain't a wealthy environment. You'll find them. You'll talk to them. If anything, you can be a lot more aggressive. Say, look, you already wealthy. You ain't giving nothing to me, but you could still at least could work with me, right? And they want to be your friend. Why? Because they think you're wealthy. Because you portrayed yourself as a wealthy person. So what are you gonna do now? Are you going to ask them to serve with you and build more wealth in the world and preserve wealth in the world? Or are you going to say, oh man, Trust Christian, try, you know, these people, man. It's these people. It's them. It's a they. It's not a us. It's not a we. It's supposed to be a us and a we. But they got people thinking about I, me, and mine, self. So, hey, appreciate y'all for tuning in live, listening to replay. I'm not saying you should be the sacrificial lamb, but at the end of the day, that's the time of season you're in. You might have to be the sacrificial lamb for your family estate. Give up some time. Give up some effort. Give up some pleasure for the immediacy and focused on working on the family estate. No matter what that is, every single day, just doing the simple tasks, doing the easy tasks that people need to be doing. People should be focusing on the skills that they're actually good at, the things that they're actually good at. If you already know you're focused on generational wealth, then you just gotta focus on being in the right environments with the right people, and that's going to it's going to take care of itself. There's no way around it. All you gotta do is just be in the right environments with the right people. That might be too hard to hear because
if you know you're not associating with them on a regular basis right now, you're feeling like, oh, am I an intruder, or do I belong here? The question is, where do you belong? Do you belong with wealthy people, doing what wealthy people do, doing your wealthy self is supposed to be doing? Because you actually have said, all right, this is what my wealthy self looks like, and this is what the poverty self looks like. And some people don't want to hear that when you can put that on paper and see, like, this is what the wealthy self does and the poverty one does, and you can see, wow, I really didn't leave the poverty one. Then you gotta know, okay, you already have identified who you know you are in your heart. So once you know who that person is in your heart, you gotta just lean into the wealthy self. That's all you gotta do is lean into the wealthy self. Lean into what and who that person is and what that person does. You know who they are, whatever, whatever. Lean into your wealthy self. What's wrong with doing that? Oh man, trust Christian. I just, man, I sometimes I feel like I'm not being the person in the old poverty self used to be. That's what they don't want to hear. It's not about the people in their life. It's the self that they're having to leave behind. Oh, okay. Well, that's actually not imposter syndrome. That is you being aware that you have there's habits actually, like what's going to sustain the wealth. People don't want to hear that. What's going to sustain the wealth? What's going to sustain the wealth is you having consistent routines and patterns. Like wealth is predictable, so is poverty. So the patterns are for those things. There's a pattern, there's a frequency, there's a vibration. And if you're practicing and doing the right things on the right vibration over a period of time, quote unquote, or even right now, good things are going to happen. Something great's going to happen. All the right things are going to work in your favor. Why? Because you're doing the things that you know you're supposed to do too. That's what it comes down to. Are you doing the things you know you're supposed to? But once you know that, you just got to have a clear vision on what you know is destined to come. Do you know what's destined to come for you? Well, if you know, then going into wealthy environments is where you'll be because you're supposed to be wealthy. Now, some people may say, "Oh, I trust Christian. I ain't listening to this podcast stuff because I don't need to hear da da da. You talking that wealthy stuff? Are you wealthy? I want to see you wealthy. I want to. That's all I want to know is you wealthy." And that's where the mentors will tell everybody that's listening. The ones that talk like that, they disqualified themselves. And that's a hard pill to swallow. Because if you think that you a wealthy individual, then you already know what time it is. If you know that that's the path, that's the path. Is it hard for people to talk about? The ones that never was going to get habit in the first place. What's wrong with talking about wealth? What's wrong with talking about money? What's wrong with talking about these things? That's where it is. It's that simple, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay this long. We just wanted to, do an episode for what it takes. Some people may think that they gonna take the shortcut. I'm not gonna associate with people. You might want to have a mentor. You might have a wealthy person sitting in the trust with you. Cause why? At least they know what it is to manage the family estate. We know some real wealthy people, and quite a few actually, and we're really thankful for that. And so then you just get to the point where you get over your ego and you say, okay, you know what? Like I clearly don't know this. Like these people know it. These people are ultra wealthy, or they have a significant amount of wealth. And not only that, these are the people that can help me manage things when I'm sitting here talking about what I'm talking about right now. So it's like, okay, they know the language, and whereas if you were to start talking a language legally, quote unquote, to other people, they wouldn't know what you're talking about. Some people say, "Oh man, do all wealthy people know this?" Yes. That's a hard pill for people to swallow. Usually, the wealthy mindset, for sure, they know it. It's not everybody in the family because there are some people that say, "Oh, I don't want to learn it," and they don't learn it. It's not a bad thing. They just don't learn it. That's not their focus. They are creative or whatever they are. They're like, "I don't want to learn it," so they don't learn it. That's just the reality. They may say, "Oh, I'm gonna live off the family estate." There's a difference between living off the family estate and actually making sure it keeps going. There's a difference. And so usually the people that are inside that know how it's working, they're actually involved in the estate. That means they understand. They're sitting in board meetings that have legal conversations, that have lawful conversations. We already know we're ahead of our time. This is a good one because we know that there are many families that are ISO'd and siloed. And when you're ISO and siloed, yeah, that's like why you see castles in certain parts of England and they just fell apart into ruin. Why? Because they didn't know how to perpetuate the bloodline to stay and maintain the family estate. It's that simple. That's what it looks like. It's a ruined castle. So if you, and it's interesting because we were thinking about that actually. We were thinking about that recently, and we were thinking about how sometimes when elderly people pass along property in a family estate, a lot of the other family members don't live there or near that place, so the place starts going down. And there's a family estate is paid for. It's just that it just starts doesn't that the maintenance isn't up on it. But if you have the right people in place, the right systems in place, it'll be maintained. And that's something that'll be in the family estate. And it's just interesting to see that there's not reverence for things like that, and to see that people don't see that until it actually happens, where it's like, oh yeah, X, Y, and Z passed away and no one's been over to the house in a long time, but we still account for it every single year on the books as an asset. Okay, well, how does that work when you're talking about the fact that it looks bad now, or it's not looking the way it used to look when you were at a certain place, or you used to see it, or people used to see it, and when the other family members were alive and awake, alive. Exactly. Well, okay, right. That's something, and then that's why you see families end up selling assets off because they're like, well, no one lives there, no one wants to live there, so and the property's not being maintained, and so people just end up selling the property. That's how it works. No one's living there. We're not renting it out. We're not going to rent it to somebody so we can keep it. We're going to just sell it. Okay, and they do. So we appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. Now tuned into the vault. Christian at trustchristian.com if you want to move forward with an immediate consultation. Once again, the email is in the description. We look forward to hearing from you all. Peace and blessings.